Welcome back to my corner of the multiverse. You have reached your hump day guilty pleasure, the Salty Goddess Podcast. Welcome, welcome. It's been a few weeks. I took a little bit of time off as I so desperately needed. I'm sure all of you can understand that. Took a couple weeks off, had to travel for work, and absolutely ran out of time for sure. But I want to thank you all back and welcome. I'm Ann Margaret. Be sure to follow, share, download, subscribe. Those are all the important things. And follow me on social media, of course. Today, we are going to talk about a concept that I have introduced previously here on the Salty Goddess Podcast, because it appears to me that either someone or everyone is not listening to the older versions, the episodes, or, I don't know, maybe you forgot the lessons or you forgot the information that was provided to you all. So let me discuss your most valuable currency. Oh, you've heard me say it before, and you'll hear me say it again. And maybe if I beef it up with a little bit of explanation, it'll make more sense to some of you. I am going to offer you something unpalatable, unvarnished, but absolutely entirely necessary. You are hemorrhaging your most valuable asset. Not money, not status, not opportunity. Tempest. Time. And the greatest tragedy? A lot of you, most of you, are spending it like it's monopoly money. You're spending it on the people, the patterns, and the problems that yield the shittiest return on investment that I have ever seen. There is an ancient truth. Verba volant, scripta manent. Words fly away, but what remains? Behaviors, patterns, consistencies. There are people out there that have a golden tongue. They'll speak to you in poetry with eloquence dripping from every syllable, and their promises appear to be wrapped in gold and silk and diamonds, right? But their actions, and yet their actions, will be illiterate. Do not confuse articulation with integrity. Because truth does not live necessarily just in the words. Truth does not live in intention. Truth lives in execution. Honestly, Yoda said it best, I suppose, when he said, "There is no try, there is only do." Some people have built their entire identities and performative behavior around trying. It's called performative effort. It's the illusion of actually making progress. It's a theater production of self-improvement. And you're sitting in the audience applauding that. Stop it. When someone says, "I'm trying," and it's what you hear repeatedly, I have news for you. They're really not trying. If you see zero progress over time, even a snail gets around, okay? Come on now, y'all. Don't fall for that shit. Effort is not the same as intention. It's not the same as action. It's not enough. It's not enough. If what you've been trying isn't working, I suggest you try a different tack. Maybe a different tack will give you better results. But if someone has been talking about trying, hey, give me some credit, I'm trying over here, and they've been trying for, I don't know, a year, 2, 5, 10, hello? No. It has to be more than just effort and trying. There need to be results. Because I have news for you. Trying for 10 years, trying for 5 years, trying for 18 months. Okay? That is lip service. They're just trying to hold you off from making the decisions you need to make based on their inability to get the job done. So please stop it. Do not applaud it. Not everybody gets a trophy. It is not a participation trophy. It is not an effort trophy. It is a results-driven trophy. If you went to work, let's just say you work at McDonald's, and your manager says, I need 24 burgers. How long do you think you could say I'm trying before the manager steps back there, takes over, and you're fired? Think about that for a moment. So why in our personal lives or in our, relationships with friends, lovers, intimate relationships, children, you name it, siblings, parents, whatever, I'm trying. How long is I'm trying with 0 results or limited itty bitty little results? Enough. When's it enough? I'll tell you when it's enough. Pretty quickly. We're giving way too much grace to individuals who don't deserve it because they're really, that effort, that claim that they're putting in effort, that they're trying, is a crock of shit. And you can tell because there's 0 results. There is 0 way that there are no results or crappy results from someone who is truly giving it their all. I mean, unless we're talking about a toddler learning to tie their shoes, okay? That's different. You know what I'm talking about. So don't go there. All right? So please, stop accepting the line, oh, I'm trying. Oh, I'm really, I'm working on it. Oh, please. No. So you've got to think about something that will, change that narrative. I'm going to talk about something that's going to make people uncomfortable. People have a return on investment emotionally, intellectually, and energetically, or energy-wise, okay? As some of you are out here investing, premium time, elite focus, and high-value emotional capital into bankrupt portfolios, negative yield individuals, chronic chaos generators, low discipline, high drama, zero accountability humans. You cannot outwork someone else's dysfunction. You cannot rehabilitate a person who is romantically committed to their own mediocrity. And let me be exquisitely clear here. If they are not doing the work themselves, for themselves, on themselves, there will be 0 transformation. Transformation will never occur. At best, you'll get what I like to call compliance theater. And at worst, you'll get resentment directed directly at you. You'll be right in the crosshairs, bullseye, because you expected growth after they verbally told you that they would definitely engage in growth. And then all they've done is try. Okay, so the autopsy of your future or their future, okay, habit architecture will tell you whether or not a person is being performative or if they have the capacity to truly step up to the plate and hit a home run. We love to ask, do you think that someone will change? The truth is, there are predictors. You can forecast whether or not someone will be able to grow, evolve, change based on their habits. Because habits and routines and daily disciplines, they are not casual behaviors. Believe it or not, and we all love this term, they are predictive algorithms of the future, of their future. So look and observe. Keep your mouth quiet. Keep those lips together. Watch. Observe. Collect your data. How do they spend their unstructured time? Who do they surround themselves with? Do they clean up after themselves? Do they demonstrate basic civility and manners? And do they treat people well when there is nothing to gain? These are not trivial categories. This is data, and data tells a story. People do not rise to their aspirations, believe it or not. They fall to their systems. So when someone shows you a pattern, not once, not twice, but consistently, repeatedly, it's not a phase. It's a forecast. I recently watched an interview with Kobe Bryant, and he actually said a couple things to me that were really, not to me, but in the interview. Sorry, he wasn't talking to me. Sadly, the man's dead. But he said, I want you to think about how you improve. How do you get better than the next guy? How do you get that leg up on your competition? And he goes, so let me lay it out for you. You get up at 10 o'clock in the morning, you eat your breakfast, and you go work out from noon to 2. You need recovery time. So you recover from 2 to 4. You go in, you do another workout 4 to 6. You need recovery time. You come back at 8, work out 8 to 10, and then you're done for the day. You go home. By the way, in between all of that, you've had lunch and dinner. Now you get home, you're showering, and you're going to bed. But you don't get up and get around until 10 o'clock the next morning. Think about if you got up at 4 a.m. By 6 a.m., you could be in the gym working. 6 to 8. Go home. Spend your time recovering. By 10, you're back in. You go home, you recover. By 2, you're back in. You go home, you recover. Then 6 to 8. Right? You get the idea. When you spend less time getting extra sleep or dawdling and you are industrious, then you get a leg up on your competition because you're getting in 4 to 6 extra hours of practice, drill, skill attainment, skill perfection, skill mastery. Think about that for a moment. Do you really need 10 hours of sleep a day? Do you need 8 hours of sleep a day? 6 to 7 is about average. Average. And then I want you to think about habits and how people spend their free time. So if you want to be the best that you can be, you don't spend it dawdling. You don't spend it sleeping. Now, I am not saying don't get your rest. Okay, that's not at all what I'm saying. So before anybody says anything like, oh, well, Ann Margaret, you only need 4 hours of sleep and you're good to go. That's not what I mean. That is not what I mean. If you need 6 to 7 hours of sleep a night, then get 6 to 7. But if you lay around in bed and you don't really need to sleep and you're just laying around doing nothing, why aren't you up, getting about your day, getting your things done? And this goes for anybody or anything. I am not saying that you should not take rest when you need it, because you should. I did these last few weeks. I spent some time resting. Absolutely, I did. But for the most part, when I'm working, I'm up and I'm at it. I do my best not to dawdle, but I have a lot of things to do on any given day. So at the very least, I'm doing research for a number of different projects. So that's all that I'm saying. And if Kobe said it, come on, it can't be too wrong, because listen, maybe we should poll some other athletes and some other really successful people. Okay, maybe. So just know that spending your time wisely, again, there's a return on investment, isn't it? What return on investment do you get by oversleeping? You don't get any, believe it or not. You actually program your body to need more sleep. That's not my idea of a good time. But then again, I can't usually sleep long hours unless I'm really beat the heck out of myself. All right. So we fall to our systems. We fall into the habits that we've already made. And if someone is not willing to alter that habit, to build new habits, to build healthier habits, and this goes for anything from the way in which you eat, whether or not you work out, whether or not you quit smoking, you quit drinking, any of those things, you have to build new habits. And if you're building these habits and they're not your idea, then chances are you're not going to stick with them. But if it is your goal, if it is something that you want to improve for yourself, you'll stick with it. But I would also say, if someone has spoken to you, don't be performative. If that is not something that you're really interested in doing, say it. Don't waste someone else's time while they sit around hoping that you are going to make a habit change or something transformative. Don't do that. I mean, that's a bitch ass move anyway. You're so big and strong, but you can't admit that. And when I say big and strong, I'm talking man, woman, or child. It doesn't matter to me. You got a habit, you tell somebody you're going to work on it, and then you don't because you never had any intention to. So you basically just lied. You did lie. Don't do that. Be honest. Be straightforward. It's okay. People would rather hear the truth than be lied to any day of the week. So let's talk about some individuals. Are you an anchor or an anchor weight? Let me ask you, a person without purpose is untethered. They drift and they latch. They attach themselves to stronger forces and expect to be carried. And if you're not careful, you become their anchor point, their stabilizer, their meaning, their direction. And let me tell you how that ends. They either drag you down or they resent you for not hanging around long enough to fill the void that they refuse to address themselves. Because your purpose, my friends, is intrinsic. It comes from within. It's not outsourced. It's not borrowed. It's not gifted by proximity. You discover it internally through friction, discipline, and self-confrontation. Which brings me to the next point. Don't expect someone else to give you your assignment on what to become next. That's your job. That's your purpose. That's for you to figure out. And if you don't want to put the work in to figure out what it is that your purpose is, that's on you. Don't tether yourself to someone else who has their purpose figured out and then expect that they're going to figure out one for you. That's not how this works. That's being lazy. And I promise you this, whatever they choose for you, you're not going to do anyway because it's not intrinsic. So why bother going through the motions? Stay at home, self-reflect, and figure it the fuck out for yourself. There, I said it. All right, so let's talk about that internal dialogue, that self-reflection, and the ways in which we quietly sabotage ourselves. As we bring this inward, I want you to know that you cannot build an extraordinary life while speaking to yourself like an enemy. And as Bruce Lee once emphasized, your mind believes what you tell it. Do you understand? Do not speak ill of yourself. Your internal monologue is absolutely believed by your brain and your psyche. So don't even speak ill of yourself in a joking fashion. Self-deprecation? No. Bruce Lee says don't do that because he says that your internal monologue, when it is laced with, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, I always mess things up, it's just, it won't work out, it never does, I'm a failure. Those words are believed. Congratulations. You are literally conditioning your own failure. Negativity is not a personality trait. It is a training protocol. You are training your brain to literally underperform. Why would you want to do that? Would you say to someone else that they're not good enough? If you were coaching a team, would you tell a student athlete you're a failure? You would never say that to a child. Why would you say it to your own brain? Why would you say it to yourself? Why would you say it about yourself? I don't. So you need to change the language. Because once you change the language that you speak to yourself, you change your identity and you change your trajectory. Believe that. Again, Bruce Lee, another extremely successful gentleman, okay? And the reason why you need to learn these lessons early and why you should share these lessons often with many is because I want you to think about time being that most valuable currency and the brutality of finite time, because we will not live for infinity. We do not. Let me give you something here that often actually is the onus behind why I move the way that I do. Because my father had 55 winters, 55 springs, 55 summers, and 55 autumns. When I think about it like that, it just hits differently than 55 years. We think years, we think how long it is, but then when you think about how long autumn, summer, winter, and spring are, 55 it's not nearly enough. I mean, 55 cars, okay, excessive. 55 houses, absurd, of course. But 55 springs, 55 summers, 55 seasons of lilacs, 55 football seasons. It's really not a lot. It's insufficient, really. Even if you were granted 100 of them, it would not be enough to execute everything you're capable of. So why do people spend even a fragment of that time policing other people's decisions, indulging in gossip that you cannot verify, reacting emotionally to secondhand narratives, sitting in judgment over things that do not build your life? If you did not see it, if you did not hear it, if you did not verify it firsthand, just know that whatever that message is that you received, it has a margin of error. There's always a margin of error. And you have spent irreplaceable time on an uncertainty, on an unverifiable truth. Why would you do it? Don't do it. 55 is not enough. 75 won't be enough for me. I'm on 58. It's still not enough. I have so much more to do, so much more to see, so much more to experience. Grandchildren that aren't yet grown. Maybe I'll get to see great-grandchildren. Maybe, maybe not. Think about that for a minute. 55. 75's not enough. I don't even think 125 would be enough. Not for me. Even though I only sleep like 3 to 5 hours a day most days. It's not enough. I want a better return on investment. And just remember that along with time not being enough, make sure your environment is not negative nor neutral, because it's either compounding your growth or it's diluting it. So choose carefully those who you sit with, those who you build with, those who you confide in, those who you tolerate, because proximity is influence, and influence over time becomes identity. There is no room for chronic dysfunction, rigid thinking, or black and white absolutism. Okay? There are in some things, okay, day is day, night is night. Okay, yes, that's black and white. All right? You all know what I'm freaking talking about. All right? Compromise when you can. And when you cannot, you do not. You compromise when it serves the mission. When it doesn't, do not. And no apology is required. Okay? Someone leaves a stack of dirty dishes in the sink. Can I compromise there and do them? Even though they're not my dishes, I sure can. I can think to myself, maybe they weren't feeling well after the meal. Maybe they had to rush out the door. That's not black and white, right? Think about it. There could be multiple reasons why those dishes were left in the sink. It's not that they're lazy, they're disrespectful, and they have no manners. It doesn't have to be that. Okay? We can give grace if we need to. But then there are things that we don't give grace for. A cheating spouse? Bye. Bye, Felicia. Lies? No. You get what I'm saying. All right? Time is our most valuable currency. We should be spending it like it matters. Invest it where there is growth, reciprocity, and forward motion. And when someone shows you through actions, patterns, and consistencies that they are a poor investment, friends, respect yourself enough to see the data and believe the data. Not the story, not the promise, not the potential, but the data. Now, go build something worthy of your remaining seasons. Okay? Please. And if this episode hit a nerve, good. It means there's something here you needed to hear. Now, do something with it. Because insight without action is just intellectual entertainment. All right? And I don't want to watch everybody's fucking movie. All right. Well, friends, listen. This is all the time we've got this week. And I want to give some recognition to a friend of mine who passed away last week. It was one of my favorite pups. Her name was Piper. And she was with me for 11 years. And sadly, it was her time. She was 12 years old. And she was one of the best dogs around, let me tell you. Her remaining pupper siblings are heartbroken that she's gone, but we are thankful that she did not suffer and she went of her own accord. So I dedicate this episode to Piper because she would not approve of not getting a good return on her investment. She spent her time wisely. Thanks for joining me. Please be sure to follow, share, download, and subscribe. This is the Salty Goddess Podcast. I'm Ann Margaret, and we will see you again next week for your Hump Day Guilty Pleasure. Thanks, y'all.